Hello, everyone. I decided that my fun little project today was going to be the Magical Retreat, even if it is just like reading a section of it and then reading the questions it asks you, and then you can write down your own list and gives you an idea of where to start, kind of thing. Let me get to the right beginning of the page here. Part 1. How to use this book. It's been helping me a lot. In this book, we'll explore the idea of personal retreat, considering the benefits that come from temporarily pulling out of the mainstream and looking deeply within oneself. We'll examine the historic and magical roots of these concepts, the benefits you'll gain from a retreat experience, and several strategies for planning and carrying out your own spectacular personal retreat. This book is organized for easy use. In Part 1, The Seeker and the Lore of the Retreat, you'll read an introduction to the ideas and lore of the personal retreat, and you'll explore the quintessential hero's journey that underpins the themes in this book. Part 2, Heeding the Call, begins the process of planning a retreat and considering the details that will be part of it. In Part 3, Departure, Initiation, and Return, you'll be guided in not only launching your retreat, but also evaluating it afterward. Part 4, Individual Retreat Plans, provides a set of ready-to-use retreat templates, as well as a host of ideas to use in developing your own gateways. Finally, Part 5 and 6, Afterward and Resources, provide further inspiration and hands-on materials to help you see the experience through. Depending on your background and magical experience, I'd like to offer the following suggestions for working with this book. If you're new or somewhat new to magic practice, I'd suggest you read the entire book through from beginning to end. The book follows the hero's journey from start to finish. Not only will it lead you step by step through the process of planning, creating, and carrying out a personal retreat, but you'll also pick up a number of important magical skills and techniques along the way, and you'll be put in touch with a number of terrific magical resources. At the end of each chapter, a set of tasks will help you reflect on what you've just covered and will help you apply the material to your own potential retreat. If you're an experienced magical practitioner and want to jump straight into the retreat itself, I suggest you begin by reading chapters 1 and 2, as they explore the why of the retreat and provide the journey context that is referenced throughout the book. The material in these chapters provides food for thought and is intended to make your experience richer and more meaningful. After reading those 2 chapters, you might head for Part 7, Individual Retreat Plans. This section provides ready-to-go retreats and ideas, allowing you to move quickly into your own retreat experience. Check Appendix C in Part 6, Magical Resources for your retreat, for supporting materials, and you might want to pursue Appendix D, as even the most experienced practitioner can benefit from considering the role of mentoring in his or her life. Do you love to plan? Are you detail-oriented? Working through the book from start to finish will provide a stepwise, logical guide to retreat craft and will take you efficiently from point A to point Z. You'll read, you'll journal, you'll plot, and you'll finish with a strong retreat plan in hand and all the tools you need to undertake it. Are you more of a set of your plans person, more of a grab-and-go mage? Review Chapter 7, which explains the basics of arranging a retreat plan. Then skip to part, whatever that one is, I and V, which in Roman numerals, scanning the same sample retreats until you find an idea or outline that appeals to you. I'd still encourage you to read chapters 1 and 2, as they'll give you some excellent background for what retreat is and why we do it. Chapter 9 might be useful too. It will help you consider the aftermath of the retreat and the reflective details that are very important but easy to overlook. Grab a pencil and dig in. Regardless of your starting point, be sure to read through Chapter 6, Solitude and Mindfulness. This chapter has a lot to say about the essential nature of sequestering oneself, as well as discussing the value of intention and mindfulness to your retreat experience. A few more details before we begin. Although this book will be useful for anyone, the correspondences and seasons within correspond with the Northern Hemisphere. If you live in the Southern Hemisphere, you'll want to adjust accordingly. While this book is aimed at a single person undergoing a private retreat, there are times when a group, a circle, coven, grove, or other group, may desire to retreat together in order to accomplish a specific purpose. I'll discuss group retreats in Chapter 21. If this applies to you, give it a look. This book is designed to be used and used actively. Read with a pen or pencil in hand, underlining, circling, and writing comments in the margins as you go. This kind of interaction effectively enters you into a discussion with the book and will make the experience that much richer. It'll also ensure that you don't forget important details as you read. Many blessings to you and happy reading. Part 1. The Seeker and the Lore of the Retreat. The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. The need for retreat. Beware the barrenness of a busy life. Socrates. It's a busy world we live in, juggling family, jobs, school, recreation, and social lives. We tend to pack so much into each day that we often find ourselves either shoehorning magic and spirituality into the last 15 minutes before we collapse, or putting them off altogether with a promise to readdress on the morrow. But then the next day comes, and the same thing happens again. Been there, done that, not fun, don't like it. Before we know it, a week or month or even an entire season has passed. Yep, I've done it. And we realize how thoroughly we've neglected our spiritual selves. None of this is new. We humans have always been busy people. Many argue that the digital age has catapulted us into new levels of hyper scheduled 24/7 craziness. But in truth, there's always been something people can point to standing between them and their spiritual expression. I may have an electronic world or interact in an electronic way. I deal with things, but in my own way, as best as I can. But my grandmother had to kill dinner and make her own soap, for God's sake. Each generation has had its own knot of distractions, keeping people from those things they really want to be doing. Kind of the gone fishing thing, you know? And some of that is never going to go away. After all, most of us have to work, and we choose to care for our families and friends and pets and coven mates. Those tasks can bring great joy, but they can also be exhausting, even numbing at times. The problem comes when we fill our days and pack our schedule with shoulds and musts and expectations at the expense of practices that nurture our hearts and souls. The world intrudes, and it often asks more of us than we have the time or energy to give. Yet we keep giving. We work hard, manage home and family, care for friends and loved ones, and check off long lists of scheduled obligations. The result is that time seems to accelerate. One of the realizations I've had in my adulthood is that when weeks and months suddenly seem to have flown by with nothing to show for them but a crammed date book and a few paychecks, and I can't remember what I had for breakfast yesterday, let alone what I did last week, something is wrong. It's at these times that many of us realize how much of our personal and magical lives have been put on the back burner. And as Einstein so aptly put it, the servant is working hard, but the gift has been forgotten, or at least neglected. Here's the thing. Magic and spirituality need the best of us, not the last 15 minutes of the day or a spot of time every couple of weeks. Magic needs concentration, intention, and time. It needs forethought, and carefulness. Spirituality requires emotional space and readiness in order to provide a footing for communing with one's inner voice and one's gods and goddesses. Good magic needs us to step out of time and into liminal space. And we must do this with an open heart and the time and desire to receive whatever gifts are given. Can we do this if we're stressed? No. Exhausted? No. Numb? No. We certainly can't. What's to be done? It's actually quite simple. Each of us must harness intention and decide that our spiritual lives will be a priority. To make a change like this requires stepping out of what has become routine and pushing the restart button. A wonderful way to do this is through the practical journey of retreat. Think back to the last time that several unfulfilled, unplanned, unscheduled hours suddenly appeared in front of you, ready to be plucked. Perhaps your children had just returned to school, leaving you a glorious quiet day. Maybe your husband went off on his annual hunting trip, leaving you home alone. Or maybe you found yourself snowed in, roads closed, and work canceled for the day. Can you remember how that felt? How precious it felt so suddenly to hear the call of silence and feel the schedule drift away. No doubt you were seized with possibilities. Would you brew a cup of tea and sink into a book? Go for a long walk and treat yourself to a restaurant lunch? Head for a day at the beach? Or maybe you're the industrious type, rolling up your sleeves and tackling a disordered closet. The point is, you seized the chance to do something for yourself. And stepping out of your daily routine and schedule, you embraced possibility. You reveled in the unplanned. Most importantly, you cared for yourself. Perhaps your mind cleared and settled enough that you thought about your spirituality or craft. Maybe you even worked some magic. Humans have long used the idea of retreat, cloister, sanctuary, vigil, and quest to take these metaphorical steps out of real time, entering the place where magic and spirituality are again possible. Once in this sacred space, we might relax, reflect, meditate, rejoice, ponder, test, or even initiate ourselves. But whatever we do, we inevitably celebrate the opportunity to slow down and pay attention to our own spiritual needs. Let's consider the idea of retreat more closely. The word retreat comes from the Latin retrahere, to pull back or withdraw. And in times past, the retreat was most often linked to the idea of religious cloister. Religious clergy, acolytes, or postulants secluded themselves for spiritual instruction, immersion, and discipline. Retreat and cloister became linked to sanctuary and safety, with the retreating person sequestered, literally committed for safekeeping from the outside world. In medieval times, churches operated under their own laws, often separate from those of the surrounding land, and a lawbreaker in the real world could seek sequestered asylum and sanctuary within the walls of a church or cathedral. Once the fugitive reached the church walls and knocked with the haggadah, a stylized door knocker, he was safe and received sanctuary under tenets of canonical canonical law. Even today, retreat and sanctuary carry the gestalt of separating and protecting the participant from worldly time. Vigil is another concept commonly linked to retreat, rooted in the Latin vigila, to keep awake. The traditional use of the word vigil is applied to one who stays awake for a long period with the intention of accomplishing a task or experiencing a revelation, a vision. The practices of medieval knights included vigil. Those selected for knighthood stayed awake through a long night, watching by their arms, their armor and weapons, and praying in the local church. The next morning, the king or lord knighted them, and they were welcomed with great celebration and feasting. The vigil became the culmination of a classical hero's quest, in which the seeker had completed a long journey, surmounted a period of testing, and return triumphant to be recognized with new status, a new name, and boons, or gifts, wishes fulfilled, gifts and knowledge that supported the quester's new competence. The ideas of quest, journey, and retreat also take root in the search for paradise, and ancient peoples often referred to the spectacular or mysterious in nature as supernatural. Deep canyons, soaring cliffs, frozen glaciers, and spinning tornadoes must surely have been created by the hand of one or more gods. Certain natural settings took on positive or malignant symbolism. The forest, for example, was often regarded as a place of dark chaos, a place where one could be swallowed up, literally eaten. As civilizations developed and societies formed, an early move common to all of them was to cut down the forests and replace them with ornate farms and gardens. In this way, the forest primeval was conquered and subdued. Evil was managed. It's no coincidence that when humans imagine what paradise must be like, it's most often viewed as a kind of beautiful manicured garden. The word paradise comes ultimately from the Old Persian para Idea and references a magical garden surrounding the holy mountain of the gods, where the tree of life bore the fruit of immortality. The Garden of Eden is another well-known expression of the garden immortality. Many quests and journeys in some way involve a search for this perfect place, for paradise on earth. The hero's journey is a profound metaphor that infuses every magical path and ties closely in with the ideas of retreat and self-sequester. The writer and comparative mythologist Joseph Campbell is credited for his work in identifying the common threads winding throughout world mythology and tradition, as well as linking these under a common idea, which he called the money myth or monomyth. Campbell used this structure to define and explain the hero's journey, a theme that appears over and over throughout ancient and modern literature, art, music, dance, and storytelling, as well as in all types of retreat and quest. The hero's journey model also permeates various magical traditions, including the tarot and all forms of magical training, e.g. the well-known year and a day, common to structured forms of study. We'll delve deeper into the quest model in Chapter 2, but the following is a quick overview. In Campbell's work, the hero's journey invariably involves some sort of magical descent into a place of darkness, and many expressions of quest in art, film, and story find the hero wandering, wide-eyed into a dark forest or cave, or some sort of underworld. Campbell's theories incorporate a great deal of Carl Jung's work with the human psyche and collective unconscious. The idea that we're all born with memories of a shared past, and that these memories may surface with powerful results. Campbell also relied on Jung's work with mythic archetypes. The recurrent appearances of warrior, mother, goddess, sage, fool, and other stock players that surface in every culture's myths and in every hero's journey. In the hero's eyes, all paths lead to home, a place that feels like paradise given the perils of the road behind. These concepts coalesce in the idea of personal retreat. We speak of going on retreat as a way to answer a call, slip away from the stream of society, and withdraw into temporary seclusion, solitude, and perhaps even silence. Chess pieces retreat from forward or threatened positions. We humans retreat from life's onslaughts or schedule ourselves to grapple with challenges and transitions. We retreat as an intentional means of pulling back, looking inward, and creating the personal time and space needed for rejuvenation. Philosopher Rudolf Steiner called this a meeting with the ens astral, a soul-filling connection with place and cosmos created through time, familiarity, and meditation. These sorts of magical bonds don't happen without hard work and without creating intentional time and space. The value of the personal retreat is in its expression as a small but very real journey. Each retreat becomes a hero's quest as we respond to a challenge, set foot to path, test or try ourselves, look inward, and return, jubilant to receive our new boons and revel in our new knowledge or accomplishment. Let's get back to those ideas about being caught up in the rat race, the hamster wheel, the treadmill, or whatever metaphor you care to use. Each of these uses up time and energy. We're left feeling stressed and we never really seem to get anywhere. As magical folks, we find ourselves wishfully imagining having the time to read that new book, or delve into a study of the runes, or finish the cloak we started embroidering 2 years earlier. Time for a change. In the pages to follow, I'll help you push that restart button. I'll help you craft your own magical retreat, a personalized, intentional process in which you prepare to withdraw from the mundane world and set out on your own journey. It will be a chance to slow down and look inward. You'll use the time to rest, energize, and reboot your spiritual practices. You'll give yourself a chance to pause and reflect on what you've learned, where you stand right now, and what you want to do in the months and years to come. It might provide a chance to test or challenge yourself, or to examine some aspect of yourself or your practices. It should also be a time to do something fun. Let me mention something else. You may be one of the lucky ones who has already jumped off the hamster wheel and feels that your magical and mundane lives are already in sync. Mine aren't yet, but I'm working on it. If they're in sync, congratulations. But please understand that this book is still for you too. Everyone can benefit from occasionally slowing down, doing some good hard self-appraisal, and setting aside self-dedicated time, whatever it is that's making you look to the idea of personal retreat. You'll benefit from the ideas in this book. Taking a retreat can open you to discovery, personal growth, and a chance to try. You can't help but grow in wisdom and joy through this kind of intention experience. You'll bask in luxurious me time, and you're likely to have fun as well. Are you ready? I am. The seeker is one who searches, and the seeker's curiosity leads to new discoveries. Each discovery generates challenges, and each challenge, well met, builds wisdom. The first step begins here, with your first set of tasks. Tasks for Chapter 1. At the end of each chapter, I'll provide several tasks to help you engage with the material as you work toward your own magical retreat. These tasks will also guide you in the pathwork that follows your own hero's journey. I suggest you make notes directly on these pages. Annotating a book as you read is a powerful way to engage with its content. But I'd also advise you to begin a special retreat journal or diary, or if preferred, that you use a magical journal already in progress as you work through the steps in this book. Make notes and respond to exercises in your journal. I've left you some space after each of the tasks to capture your ideas. Read these questions aloud to yourself and then write your responses. Now, I'm going to read the question, read them, decently, slow enough, not too slow, not too fast. And don't worry about the answers, because these answers have to come from you. So I will try to give you enough time to write them down, or, whatever. Number 1, what are some of the most important things I have learned about myself since I began studying magic or magical spirituality? How was I first called to this path? Number 2, what new magical skills or knowledge have I acquired since I began this journey? Number 3, what are my strengths and talents as a member of this path or practice? What are my weaknesses? What challenges do I face? 4, what subjects or practices do I want to explore more deeply? 5, How has my magical growth contributed to myself, my family, my spiritual community? Number 6, how have I given back? Number 7, what have I put on the back burner in terms of my magical self? If I had an extra half hour each day, what would I do more of? And that's it for first section, the first chapter. There's notes and ideas. I definitely recommend this book for anyone watching because it's, I don't know how well you can see it, Susan Pesnecker, Magical Retreat. And like I said, I almost have this one filled. I'm way back here on page 98. So, and I am planning a day-long retreat in a couple of days. I'm trying to give my daughter adequate time to answer me, and I'm still hoping that she might, but if not, that's fine because it'll give me a chance to take this and really, do it more in depth and stuff like I haven't been able to do yet. And I'm going to Ravenwood Castle, so I'm going to be there for a night, and I'll be in a cabin. If my daughter decides that she can't make it and she's working or some other obligation has stopped her from being there, that's fine. I totally understand. I asked her, I give her a certain time I said, let me know the answer by this date. And if you don't know, or you're like, go ahead, Mom, just go without me, then I'll just go by myself because it's a very special event for me. It's a very special thing. For the past 10 years, I've been wanting to go to Ravenwood Castle. And it took me 10 years of, pretty much forgetting about it until I was cleaning one day and I ran across some stuff that I hadn't seen in like a really, really, really long time. And it was stuff that I thought, I had lost, that I wasn't even sure what had happened to it. And it was a folder, and it had a newspaper clipping from 10 years ago about Ravenwood Castle. It's got the address, it's got the directions, it's got the phone number you can call if you want to call and see about the cottages and, different packages they have. Like, if you have the money and you're willing to pay extra, they'll have a personal masseur come to your cabin or, cottage and give you a personal massage. But you have to include it when you book the room, because if you don't, then, it won't happen. But I decided, because I did say that I wanted to do some magical work on here and some magical live streaming, by the time I get a decent amount of these made, these live streams, I will, maybe give like a handful of friends, like, everybody at the Paranormal Files. They're always welcome, to watch any of my videos. I hope that my videos, some of them can help them in some way, or maybe someone they know that's maybe having a rough time right now in their lives that could use something like a magical retreat, or themselves for that matter, because I know that they put in a lot of hard work and time, and they're so exhausted. I mean, it's almost like Colin Best explained it in many episodes, it becomes your life. It's like, it's more or less a life on the road, kind of, with intermittent, amounts of time, like around holidays and during the winter and stuff. Of course, you want to cut down your traveling, because then you're traveling under more difficult circumstances, snow, ice, and that kind of thing. And I don't want to even think about all that scary stuff. I love the beauty of winter, but I don't like the cold. I don't like the increased danger with all the ice and snow everywhere, and people have to dig their cars out, just to go to work, and it's just horrible. So this is my first in an attempt to do a magical series. I will go through a section of this book each time. I will read the questions. Bear with me if I read them too fast. I'm hoping that you can always go back in this video and stop it where you need to, so that you can hear all the questions. I hope I'm speaking, clearly and everything enough for everybody. And I've listened and watched some of these videos, and they seem to turn out pretty okay. I decided to go red, guys. So I got red, blue, and purple now, and I love it. I love the diversity of it. So And look, Colin, I've got those deep Capricorn waves. Check it out, man. Those suckers are really deep. So, I mean, when I air dry my hair, it gets real wavy and curly and stuff. And, I like it even more when it's braided, and then I leave it up braided for a few days, and then I take it down, and it looks really pretty. But anyway, so Magical Retreat has really helped me a lot. And, I'm sharing it with others, because the people most likely that I'm going to give the address of these videos, like where you can look for them, how you can look them up and stuff. Because each video is given like an ID kind of thing, number or whatever. It's usually a combination of numbers and letters. And then you just, if you want to refer a friend to it or a family member or something or other paranormal investigators, then just links. That's what I couldn't think of. Links. And then they can click on it and it'll bring them, like right to a particular video or whatever. But because I'm doing this, I'm learning as much of this as I can by myself. And I figured Magical Retreat is very much in the paranormal field, because if you're stressed, if you're scared, if you're grumpy, if you've had a bad day, those are like the times when you're paranormal investigating. You have to be the most careful and cautious, because you misjudge things, or you don't, I would hate for anyone to get injured or anything because they're just too tired to go on and they're not taking a nice proper break. And I would probably be just as bad. I'd probably just keep plugging along till I literally almost collapsed. But you guys have seen a lot of the world. You've seen a lot of really cool historical places. I love the history of how in-depth Colin and Peyton and, all my spooky fam are about, the forgotten ones. These mass graves that you find, all over these different places in the world. That is just sad and heartbreaking, because those were still people once. They deserve more respect and reverence than they're getting, and they should be valued and acknowledged, not forgotten. I hope that the Paranormal Files will at least maybe sometime see some of these videos and know that, I'm right there with you guys. I'm just as passionate about the safety of others and, safety in numbers. And if you're out doing a paranormal investigation somewhere and you're alone and you feel threatened, get out of there. Don't even, fight or flight, definitely flight. Get out of there. It's not worth your life. And I know you guys know that. And that's part of what's so admirable about you, is that, you know that, okay, if we're going to do this, this is the way to do it. You don't want to, piss the spirits off. You don't want to agitate them, because then you're going to be more likely to be attacked by one, very violently. Don't offer yourself up, do whatever you want to me. I'm here, because they will. They will. I've seen the scratches, on Colin, and it was terrifying. That would scare the crap out of me if I was suddenly walking down a hallway or something and my skin started itching. I'm like, what the heck? And then somebody looks and pulls my shirt up and, oh my God, you got 3 scratches on your back, Janet. I'd be like, oh shit. Okay, time to go. Because, they say that spirits can't hurt us, but to me, that is wrong. That is untrue. They can't hurt you, because when they can cause you physical harm, thusly the scratches, that is still harm. That is still hurting somebody. My kitty cat Carmela's in the window, but she's lighter colors. You can barely see her. The sun's shining in real nice through our north window right now. So yeah, I got red raspberries up here. I got like a certain strip that goes down that's a bright red. I love how I did it, because I was just playing around, because my roots were showing, and I didn't have any money, to go out and get any of the splat kits that I usually use. So I went over and I helped my sister plant some seedlings at her place, because she's not very far from where I am. And she had this splat kit that said luscious raspberries, and I thought she was going to use it for her hair, but she's like, no, go ahead. It was unopened and everything. So I took it, because those things are like $12 and something a piece. And they got a nice array of colors out there. I think she said something about she had some black as well. So I'm going to, next time I see her, ask her if I can have the black, so I can further experiment with like doing black tips or something, or, do some black streaks, or do it sectionally, and just play around, be creative with it. I might be 50, but I'm not dead. I'm not afraid to be the Forever 21, spirit. And I know that I'm not, but my mentality is, live young as you can, reasonably. I'm working on, me and my husband both, getting our weight down and exercising, eating more healthy, drinking more healthy, keeping hydrated. I'm doing my beauty course that I absolutely love. I got a 74 on my last exam, guys. That's two exams down. No, sorry. 2 study modules down, and I did my first 3 tests, or yeah, some of them are 3, some of them are 4. I did the 3 exams in my book. Now I'm just waiting on the next set of materials. So I'm all excited about that. So 74 is low, but at least it's still passing. Because if it drops below 70, then you have the option to make the test up. You can redo the test and see if you can do it any better. Because usually what they do is they guide you right. Like they'll tell you the one that you got wrong, and then they'll tell you the page that you go to read for yourself. Okay, yeah, that I can see what they said. That's where the section is. So forgive my quickness of talk, but I'm trying to get some things out before I forget them. Cherry vanilla. My greatest addiction. But me and Chris are hopefully going to be going to the Y here soon. Or some other gym if Active and Fit ever get back with us. But I know they said it could be a couple days, so.
No, we won't get it, dude.
We won't get it? Did they already answer?
It is only available for those on the MyCare.
Oh.
Which means the Medicaid.
Okay. Which we don't have.
Medicaid, MyCare, or Medicaid and Medicare combination.
Oh, okay.
Which we don't
So,
have. We're just
well,
Medicaid.
okay, plan B, and I already have one, so that's kind of nice. My sister has a membership at the Gahanna Y, and she will take me over there for some free sessions, as many as they will allow. At the end of those free sessions, through her membership, I may be able to get, only have to pay $10, each time I go after that, when the free visits are up. And, I'll jump on it because it's $10 and there's 3 pools there. There's probably just about every type of piece of equipment you could possibly think of there. What?
$10 per visit.
Yeah.
The monthly 35, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Would be a better option.
It was 32 something, I think the lady said. And I still have that. Yeah, I could, if I wanted to just do the 32 and then just go up there and, have it one way or another. So me and Chris can go up and, some of the time if I can get myself to a certain degree of motivated and consistently motivate myself to where I have a regular workout routine that I do once a week or a couple times a week or however long. Because I don't want to go at it head first and then overkill and do too much and, really. Let me move that down some because I feel like it's whitewashing me out because of the sun. So sorry about that. But so Magical Retreat for this series, and I haven't even gotten to the part of learning to edit videos or anything yet. So that's going to be a challenge, when that happens, because I want to do it right, and my husband is more skilled at those type of things than me. So I will have to ask him to help me, kind of step by step along the way, teach me, okay, you do this, you click on there, you do this, and then this is how you edit, and then you decide, okay, the section you want to take out, and, it's a whole process. You guys know, you do it all the time. And it takes a lot of time, takes a lot of energy, a lot of patience, sometimes it seems like you have to do a take so many times, and then it's still, your equipment fouls up and messes up, and you just never know what's going to happen next. But anyway, I'm going to, let's see, did I want to say anything else with this? Just that, the Magical Retreat, solitude, taking time for yourself, me time, because our lives are hectic, especially when you're, a mom and dad and you have kids in college, you have kids in kindergarten, you have kids in grade school, middle school, high school. And, all the death and innocence lost every day in the world, and, trying to maintain the balance of spiritual and, the good and bad, the light and dark within us. Live your life as best as you possibly can, as if it was your last. Live every day as though it was your last, because it just might be. We don't know how long any of us are going to be here. I have the ability to predict death, and I don't know that I would want to know when mine was, because then I feel like I would go to the extreme and I would try to do some outlandish bucket list that is inhumanly possible. And I would maybe get 5 or 6 of them done if I was lucky before I was planted in the ground. But, that's why, I'm trying to, I don't know, you guys are young people. You're more my daughter's age, and I know my husband's tried to help me with this too. How do I connect with my daughter? I mean, other than just say, hey, I'm here. I'm not trying to smother you or be overbearing or anything like that at all. I know your life's chaotic. I know it's crappy and hellish sometimes. So is mine. When I go down to my mom's, if I don't go down for, every single day for a solid week and a half to 2 weeks, she's not happy. But you know what? Sorry, Mom. I love you, but I do have a life. I got to get things done. I'm not, I'm not trying to make you like a less priority or anything at all. You're top priority, but I also have to put me up there. And that's part of why I am being so determined about the magical retreat. And I'm looking forward to, if my daughter can't go, I'm going on the 28th by myself. And, hopefully sometime in the future, I'll be able to do a video and I'll be able to actually have the thing for a whole weekend or have the cabin for 2 nights. And that I found out it's going to be like $314.84 or some crazy shit. So, I'm lucky to have $200 a month to live on. So I don't think I can afford 2 nights, not by myself. Some like the cabins, the majority of them, because there's only 5, and they can fit, they say they can fit up to 4 people because they have a futon, and you can pull the futon out into a bed. And then there's 1 bedroom, and there's also a loft if you have little kids or something, And I'm dribbling my pop all over myself here. Trying to still figure out, too, how long to make these videos. Do I want to have, some of them that are going to be longer than others? Do I want to have a set, try to do 30 minutes, because I know people don't have an hour or, longer to necessarily sit here just to hear me talk. But I'm new at this, and I want to do it right. I want to give it my own finesse and my own creativity, and finding what works for people, because I'm supposed to be writing spiritually based books. So I don't see why there's anything wrong with taking something like this and helping others to acquire spirituality in their lives. And remember to take time for yourself. Find a way to make it work, because you don't want to end up in the hospital and then everybody's scared you're dying and they're going to lose you because you overdid it. My heart goes out to all the celebrities and famous ones in the world. I can't even imagine the schedules you go through. Especially if you're an actor or actress that doing 4 or 5 movies in a short succession of time. I don't know what's realistic, but I know it's not something you're going to do or accomplish in 20 minutes, usually. So I'm trying to, I'm going to do editing eventually, and, have more of a background to look at than just, my there and the stuff on the walls behind me. And it's not an Art Deco studio or anything, but it's just my place and, my castle, as it were, my little cubby hole in the world right now. But the area is really bad, and I would like to get us in a better area, but that requires a lot of money. And there's places across the street from us, just a couple blocks to the west, and they're over $600 a month for a 2-bedroom. And the place that we're, our rent here is $425 a month. So, and these are 1-bedroom places. They're small, they're old. There's 8 apartments in one building. Each apartment has 2 doors in and out of it, which I guess one of them is supposed to be meant to be a quick fire exit, possibly. But excuse me, we don't actually use our living room door, which is right over here to the left of me. We use our dining room door, which is that way through the living room into the dining room. That's the one we always use. The one in the living room, you guys can't see it, but it has a bunch of stuff in front of it, so there's no way that door's coming open either from either side. Not easily, because if you open it from the hallway, you wouldn't be able to get in because you have to push it in this way. So, but anyway, I think that's it for now. I hope I did, paused effectively enough in between questions to give someone a chance to write them down. Not, let's see how many I can rattle off in 5 seconds or anything. Bear with me. I will get better as I go. Hopefully this video won't give me near as much trouble as the latest ones have. But this is, let's be fun and creative. I'll call myself Janelle. This is Janelle signing off. And blessed be all. Happy Beltane for those of us out there that may view these at some point that are witches like myself. Beltane's not until the 30th of April, so a few days away yet, but it's looking like the closest to Beltane that I'm going to make it to Ravenwood is the 28th. So, hey, you know what? I'll take it. Welcome to Magic Janelle 101.